Replenish is the cause and collective action towards protecting the global commons. The way that I define a smart city and a smart citizen is very much the same way. Smart isn't smart unless if people understand it. So of course, having something smart and everybody else stupid doesn't really work. The idea of having smart is to be able to understand what's going on, to attach some level of experience to whatever that knowledge accumulation is. The wisdom comes in when you attach that experience together with what you're learning. So the theory is there as well as the practice, and where someone actually gets to determine their own choices. So a smart citizen is somebody that understands exactly where they stand, where they are employed, what they're doing it for, and how they fit into the system. Let me give you an example. How many buildings have you been in that as soon as you're inside, there's nothing that you can do to change the environment? Is that a smart building? If a building that you enter has made all the decisions for you, are you required to use your brain? So it's really funny that we talk about sustainability, green economy, eco, organic. They're expressions of the reality that we're living at the moment. What's our reality? Half of the population of the world is going to be migrating to one place that they weren't originally born in. Multiple people of that group will be living in places where they're not invited. There are going to be even bigger famines and issues of disasters that we cannot predict. There are risks to the future of not only ourselves but to our children, children's children, and there are scientific pieces of evidence that will show us that this will become a larger reality for ourselves. In other words, we're living in a time where we don't know what tomorrow is going to be like, and there is less and less predictability of what will be. So we're going to university to learn things. We're going to prepare ourselves for jobs that don't exist in 20 years' time. We're going to prepare ourselves to be living a lifestyle that is not going to be appropriate anymore in the future. We're potentially going to be living the reality of a technology today that will be obsolete in 20 years' time. Can you imagine rewinding 12 years and taking smartphones away from people? So imagine that the first reality of a smartphone, probably in Japan with a flip phone, using the internet to be able to access, train information to connect multiple systems together. Imagine if that doesn't exist anymore. Would you be able to go backwards now that you know that this is your new reality? Imagine if in 5 years' time, there is an extraterrestrial that blows out all of our satellites and no longer can we communicate in the way that we've become used to. Imagine if somebody comes to your university or your place of residence and completely blocks out electricity use, and every single one of your devices uses some form of electric energy. So the reality and the risk that we now have to build into the contingency of living in the future is much more than potentially our parents' generation. So of course, whether you call it green economy or replenish ecosystem, your reality is changing. So how much has your imagination kept up with that reality, adaptation to climate changing? Whether you agree with global warming, whether you agree that climates are changing, disasters are happening. In Venice today, we happen to have a flood that we've never had before, potentially pre-1966. So if that's the reality and that's going to be happening in the future, it doesn't matter what you call it, you just need to be prepared.